Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshauranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namaha Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutare Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswate Gauravane Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyamadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayadigirim Yatkrupatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Om Apavitra Pavitro Va Sarvavasangataphiva Yasmaret Pundarikaksham Sabahya Abhyantaram Sujihi Sri Vishnu Sri Vishnu Sri Vishnu Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Surayo Diviva Chakshuratatam Sadvipraso Vipanyavo Jagruham Samindate Vishnu Yat Paramam Padam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaivam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Udayamudirayath Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Sloki Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namo Pankajanabhaya Namo Pankajamaline Namo Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangre. Thank you very much, joining devotees. And all pranams. All glory to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. So we'll continue from 21 verse from the
Prabhuji,
Canto.
22 we need to read from 22.
In the intavaraka ayipinda Prabhu?
21 ayipindi.
All right. Yeah. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 3 entitled as The Status Quo, chapter 27, Understanding Material Nature. We are continuing from text 22. Let me read a few verses and over to you. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: This devotional service has to be performed strongly in perfect knowledge and with transcendental vision. One must be strongly renounced and must engage in austerity and perform mystic yoga in order to be firmly fixed in self-absorption. Purport: Devotional service in Krishna consciousness cannot be performed blindly due to material emotion or mental concoction. It is specifically mentioned here that one has to perform devotional service in full knowledge by visualizing the absolute truth. Visualizing the absolute truth, nothing but Krishna. Krishna is the absolute truth, Sarva Karana Karanam. Okay, we can understand about the absolute truth by evolving transcendental knowledge, evolving slowly, gradually development of this knowledge, and the result of such transcendental knowledge will be manifested by renunciation. That renunciation is not temporary or artificial, but it is very strong. It is said that development of Krishna consciousness is exhibited by proportionate material detachment or vairagya. If one does not separate himself from material enjoyment, it is to be understood that he is not advancing in Krishna consciousness. Renunciation in Krishna consciousness is so strong that it cannot be deviated by any attractive illusion. One has to perform devotional service in full tapasya, austerity. One should fast on the 2 Ekadasi days, which fall on the 11th day of the waxing and waning moon, and on the birthdays of Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are many such fasting days. Recently, we have fasted until dusk, moonrise. There are many such fasting days. Yogena means by controlling the senses and mind. Yoga Indriya Samyama. Yoga Indriya Samyama. Yogena implies that one is seriously absorbed in the self and is able, by development of knowledge, to understand his constitutional position in relationship with the super self. In this way, one becomes fixed in devotional service, and his faith cannot be shaken by any material allurement. Strong, we have to be very strong. Strong in what? Krishna consciousness. Renunciation in Krishna consciousness is so strong. How can we understand this? using everything in Krishna service. Prabhupada or in all the scripture doesn't say that leave everything and completely detach. No, employee. Prabhupada words uses this word particularly. I like it. Employing our senses, employing our resources in Krishna's service. That is real renunciation. ऋषिकेन ऋषिकेश सेवनं भक्तिर उच्यते सर्वोपाधि विनिर्मुक्तं तत्परत्वेन निर्मलं ऋषिकेन ऋषिकेश सेवनं भक्तिर उच्यते अत श्रीकृष्ण नामादि न भवेत् ग्राह्यमिन्द्रियै सेवोन्मुखे जिह्वादो स्वयं एव स्फुरत्यदा. Many verses actually to talk about. Yeah. Text 23. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The influence of material nature has covered the living entity, and thus it is as if the living entity were always in a blazing fire. But by the process of seriously discharging devotional service, this influence can be removed, just as wooden sticks which cause a fire are themselves consumed by it. Just as wooden sticks which cause a fire are themselves consumed by it. Prabhupada nicely explains here. Purport. Fire is conserved in wooden sticks, right? Fire is there in the wood, right? That's where. And when circumstances are favorable, the fire is ignited. But the wooden sticks, which are the cause of the fire, are also consumed by the fire if it is properly dealt with it. Similarly, the living entity's conditional life of material existence is a desire to lord it over material nature, and due to his envy of the Supreme Lord. Envy. What is the Sanskrit word of envy? Haribol. What is the Sanskrit word of envy?
Asuya, Prabhuji, Asuya. Telugu.
Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Madam, Ascharya అంటారు కదా. Kama, lust. Krodha, anger. Lobha, Kama, lust,
Greed.
anger, greed. Kama, Krodha, Lobha. Moha, illusion. Mada, pride. Matsya, enviousness. Matsaram. Okay. Thus, his main diseases are that he wants to be one with the Supreme Lord. He wants to be one with the Supreme Lord. Or he wants to become the Lord of material nature. Lording it over material nature means సింపుల్ 4 ఉన్నాయి మనకు సెంటెన్సెస్ ఎప్పుడు మనం నోట్ల నుంచి అంటూ ఉంటాం. కంట్రోలర్షిప్, ఎంజాయర్షిప్, ప్రొప్రైటర్షిప్, మాస్టర్షిప్. అది we want to become Krishna. Like Krishna is controlling all the universes. I want to control. Adi. How can we do in the spiritual world? We cannot do, right? That's why this material world is created. Go and control as much as you can and suffer. the, the karmis try to utilize the resources of material nature and thus become its lord and enjoy sense gratification. The jnanis, the salvationists who have become frustrated in enjoying the material resources, want to become one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead or merge into the impersonal effulgence. These two diseases are due to material contaminations. What are the two diseases here mentioned? Lording it over material nature. The karmis try to utilize the resources for their material resources of material nature and thus become its lord and enjoy sense gratification. The Gyanis, Karmi Gyanis, Karma Mishra, Bhakti, Karma Jnana Mishra. And the Gyanis, the salvationists who have become frustrated in enjoying material resources, want to become one with the Supreme Person or merge into the impersonal Brahman effulgence. These two diseases are due to material contamination. Material contamination can be consumed by devotional service because in devotional service, these two diseases, namely the desire to lord it over material nature and the desire to become one with the Supreme Lord, are absent. We are absent anamata. No disease condition. Lording it over material nature and become one with Supreme Lord are absent. Therefore, the cause of material existence is at once consumed by the careful discharge of devotional service in Krishna consciousness. Actually, it addresses all the problems. I want to become one with Krishna. Kaivalyam, there is one word, right? భగవంతునిలో కలిసిపోవడము కథం ఇంకేం ఎగ్జిస్టెన్స్ లేదు. అదే అల్టిమేట్ అని ఫీల్ అవుతా ఉంటారు. అండ్ వాట్ ఈస్ ద అదర్ వన్? Desiring to lord it over material nature. That is also once consumed by the careful discharge of devotional service. A devotee in full Krishna consciousness appears superficially to be a great karmi, always working, but the inner significance of the devotee's activities is that they are meant for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. This is called bhakti or devotional service. We are chanting for the pleasure of Krishna, right? Of course, Krishna is given this method. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is given this Sankirtan, uh, chanting of the holy names of the Lord, engaging our senses in Krishna's service, so that Krishna will be pleased. Arjuna was apparently a great fighter, but when by his fighting he satisfied the senses of Lord Krishna, he became a devotee. Since a devotee also engages in philosophical research to understand the Supreme Person as he is, his activities may thus appear to be like those of mental speculator, but actually he is trying to understand the spiritual nature and transcendental activities. Thus, although the tendency for philosophical speculation exists, the material effects of fruitive activities and empiric speculation do not. Because this activity is meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only Bhakti Yoga, only understanding the nature of the Supreme Lord and is transcendental, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela. These are the meditations of a devotee. Empirical speculation, fruitive activities, same karma kandi, jnana kandis. Absent and Rajan Prabhupada because it addresses everything. Bhakti Yoga is the topmost method of worship and understanding Krishna, right? Topmost. ఎలివేటర్ అని చెప్తా ఉంటాం మనం ఊరికి కదా ఎందుకు చెప్తాం ఎలివేటర్ ప్రాసెస్ అని బికాజ్ డైరెక్ట్ మెథడ్ వీ డోంట్ నీడ్ టు గో త్రూ hardships uh, pertaining to these different yogas, karma yogas and jnana yogas or ashtanga yogas. Bhakti yoga directly engage our senses in Krishna service. That's it. It addresses all the things and it inclusive of all the things also karma yogi, jnana yogi, ashtanga yogi. If we fully surrender to Krishna and if we have full attention and focus on chanting of the holy names, we are in perfect trance or samadhi. Yeah. यानी बोल ఇంకొకటి చదువుతాను అండ్ దెన్ ఓవర్ టు యూ ఓకే హరే కృష్ణ థ్యాంక్ యూ టెక్స్ట్ 24 3.27.24 translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. By discovering the faultiness of his desiring to lord it over material nature and by therefore giving it up, the living entity becomes independent and stands in his own glory. Purport: because the living entity is not actually the enjoyer of the material resources, his attempt to lord it over material nature is, here the ultimate issue, frustrated. As a result of frustration, he desires more power than the ordinary living entity and thus wants to merge into the existence of the supreme enjoyer. In this way, he develops a plan for greater enjoyment. When one is actually situated in devotional service, that is his independent position. When one is actually situated in devotional service, that is his independent position. Less intelligent men cannot understand the position of the eternal servant of the Lord. Because the word servant is used, they become confused. They cannot understand that this servitude is not the servitude of this material world. To be the servant of the Lord is the greatest position. Seva adhikara diye koro nijadasi. Tulsi Maharani prayer. Greatest position devotees, become humble and remain humble and staying the position always in the servant of a great devotees of Supreme Lord or Supreme Lords. If one can understand this and can thus revive one's original nature of eternal servitorship of the Lord, one stands fully independent. A living entity's independence is lost by material contact. In the spiritual field, he has full independence, and therefore there is no question of becoming dependent upon the three modes of material nature. This position is attained by a devotee, and therefore he gives up the tendency for material enjoyment after seeing its faultiness. Mamchayo Bicharena Bhakti Yogena Sevate Sagunan Samatithitan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalvate. Krishna nicely defined who is Bhakti Yogi, where he is situated. Mamchayo Bicharena Bhakti Yogena Sevate. Through the Bhakti Yoga process, they are not in these three modes. They are working and executing their activities, chanting of the holy names, all the devotional activities beyond the beyond the three modes of material nature. Sagunan samatitaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. This position is attained by a devotee, and therefore he gives up the tendency of material enjoyment and after seeing its faultiness. Last paragraph of this particular verse. The difference between a devotee and an impersonalist is that an impersonalist tries to become one with the Supreme Lord, Supreme, so that he can enjoy without impediment, whereas devotee gives up the entire mentality of enjoying and engages in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. That is constitutional glorified position. Super verse, super statement. That is constitutional glorified position. Right. At that time, he is Ishvara, fully independent. The real Ishvara or Ishvara Parama, the Supreme Ishvara or the Supreme Independent is Krishna. The living entity is Ishvara only when engaged in the service of the Lord. That means we are able to control our senses. We are situated beyond the three modes of middle nature. There is no question of material afflictions or inflictions or tribulations upon us because our consciousness is this consciousness. Brahmabhuta prasannatma na sochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu madbhakte lavate baram. Krishna also says that one. Brahmabhuta prasannatma. Who is a prasannatma? A devotee is a prasannatma. A pure devotee is a prasannatma. That's why he has become Ishvara also. No? Prabhupada writes this. The living entity is Ishvara only when one engaged in the service of the Lord. In other words, transcendental pleasure derived from loving service to the Lord is actually independence. This is what real independence. Independence Day, we flow different WhatsApp messages. Actually, this verse we can find along with that greeting. What is our real independence? Serving in Krishna service. How can we understand really independence? There is no question of sufferings. There is no dependent. There is no material body basically. There is no material body. We are liberated. There is one verse from Bhagavatam. Even though one person is situated in this material world, it doesn't have to suffer. It doesn't have to undergo all this because Prabhupada only in previous, I think Prabhupada only explained in previous purports. Police department is there, but not everybody criminal, right? That means material laws won't affect on a particular living entity who surrenders to Krishna, even though we situated in the material world. But if we do render services to Supreme Lord and his devotees, and practicing bhakti yoga, even though we are in the material world, no need to worry. Krishna will take care of that. ఒక ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఉంటుంది కదా, ఒక ఆవు దూడ యొక్క గోష్పాదం అంత అంటారు. ఆవు దూడ పాదం అంతా. Easy to cross this middle world when we surrender to Krishna and service to Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Text 25 onwards continue చేయండి. సో ఎవరు రన్ చేస్తారు ఈరోజు కాల్? హరిబోల్ లావణ్, ఎవరు వాంట్ రన్?
రాజప్రభు చేయరంటనా, సో దట్ ఐ కెన్
నేను అడగలే ప్రభుజీని.
I can do Prabhuji. I can.
You want to do? Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
చేయండి ప్రభుజీ. Okay, we are here, 8 of us here. Anyway, I have some work also, Prabhu. I'll be in hearing mode another 15-20 minutes. I need to finish something. One deployment is there, I need to work on that. Okay, so I'll be in hearing mode. If anything, let me know. Okay, I will also recite. I need to recite these verses also from the Bhakti Vaibhava 6 Canto 6 slokas. We have
You can recite, right? First you can recite and you can drop off, right? So that you can have some time. చేయండి మీరు.
అది బెటర్.
చేసేసి మీరు డ్రాప్ అప్ అయ్యండి, సో దట్
I'll continue. Okay. King Chitraketu's lamentation. Yesterday we practiced these two verses. King Chitraketu's lamentation. That is a chapter of 14th chapter of 6th canto, text 5. Muktanamapi siddhanam narayana parayanah sudurlabha prashantatma kotishvapi mahamune. Devotees only. Mother Parvati curses Chitraketu. This is 17th chapter, 6th canto, 28 chapter, verse 28 verse. Narayana para sarve nakutaschana bibhyati sargapavarga narakeshva api tulyartha darshinaha. First verse meaning, O great sage, among many millions who are liberated and perfect in knowledge of liberation, one may be a devotee of Lord Narayana or Krishna. Such devotees who are fully peaceful are extremely rare. And next verse, translation: devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. The highest understanding devotees, okay? But Prabhupada writes many times, hundreds of times, thousands of times, going back home, back to Godhead, going back home, back to Godhead. That's okay. That is what we are working, we are all working. But actually, a complete pure devotee of Krishna, their consciousness is, okay, send me, Prahlad Maharaj consciousness also, right? Send me in Narakaloka also, but don't give forgetfulness to serve you, Krishna. That's it. And that is what key anamata, key. So that's where this here also, in this pastime we see, Chitraketu Maharaj. Hari Bol. So now we all continue. So before that, let us pray for our devotee, very nice friend of me, from Radha Madan Mohan temple. Hardest truth of this material world is immediately snatches away from us. This person, Madhav Prabhu, let us pray for him. Okay, let us pray for him, this soul. His father is serving Radha Madan Mohan temple so nicely since last 3 decades devotees. I had very
Prabhuji, you are
very
sharing screen?
yeah, 1 second, Prabhu. Let me share. 1 second.
Okay.
Okasari Prabhuji picture.
Share his
I
picture.
I want to share his picture because I'm feeling very bad. Sometimes too much. Very nice devotee. He supported to his father during Abhishekams, many things. And he lovingly called to me, Giriraj Prabhu, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for helping. Very nice devotee. Let us pray intensely, please. Of course, his father is doing wonderful service. He's initiated. He got the initiation from Guru Maharaj, and he's served also. But due to material conditions, we all have to leave this material world at any point of time. So, smartavyam sadatam Krishnam, smartavyam sadatam Vishnu.
Prabhuji, ఏం ప్రాబ్లం Prabhuji? What is the problem?
Sick అన్నారు ప్రభు. I don't know exact reason. ఏదో sick, maybe obesity issue. ప్రభుజీ కొంచెం లావు ఉంటుండే, హార్ట్ అటాక్. I don't know exactly reason. He was sick అని అన్నారు, but I don't know. నేను కూడా అడగలేదు. But anyway, it's okay. So let us chant for this Prabhu, okay? Hare Krishna, 3 times.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna
Rama
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Rama
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama, Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare.
Krishna,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Madhav Prabhu ki jai. ఎక్కడున్నా కూడా, our prayers addressed, your father's sincere service also addressed. It definitely reach. Nice service there in the eternal world of Supreme Lord. Golokera Premadana Harinama Sankirtana. You are doing Harinama Sankirtana, Prabhu. I completely assure you the services you did for Radha Madan Mohan. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Hey Prabhu.
గురుదాస్ ప్రభుజీ కాదు.
మాధవ్ ప్రభు అని మన రాధా మదన్ మోహన్ టెంపుల్లో సనాతన ఆనంద్ ప్రభు అని సీనియర్ పూజారి ఉన్నారు ప్రభు. సో వాళ్ళ అబ్బాయి.
ఈయన పాస్వర్డ్ అయ్యారండి.
He left his body. Yeah.
This Prabhu.
Yeah.
What is his name?
మాధవ్ ప్రభు.
అయ్యమ్మా టెంపుల్ లో చూసేవాళ్ళం ప్రభుజీ.
అదే
గురుదాస్ కాదు కదా?
కాదు సనాతన ఆనంద్ ప్రభు కొడుకు.
ఓకే ఓకే.
పూజారి ఉంటారు కదా ప్రభు, ఒక పూజారి.
లేదు ప్రభు, ఈయన చాలా సార్లు చూసాను యాక్చువల్లీ.
Yeah.
రాధా
Chanting
మదన్ మోహన్ కి
వెళ్ళేవాళ్ళం
చేస్తారు
కదా.
కదా ప్రభుజీ, రాధా మదన్ మోహన్ కి సేవ చేస్తారు.
అదే మదన్ మోహన్ టెంపుల్, అమిట్స్ టెంపుల్ లోనే ఎప్పుడు.
Yeah.
ఓకే ఓకే ఓకే, ఈ పాజిటివ్.
Pray, Prabhu. Please pray for him, Prabhu. Hari Bol.
యా షూర్ షూర్.
టుడేనా ప్రభు పాస్ అవుట్?
నిన్న జరిగింది.
నిన్న. ఓకే.
నేను నైట్ 6:30.
ఏమైనా తెలిసిందా ప్రభు? ఏమన్నా
అది సిక్ అన్నారు ప్రభు. ఐ డోంట్ నో ఎగ్జాక్ట్ రీజన్. ఓకే, సిక్ అన్నారు. వాటి బేసికలీ కొంచెం ఆయన లావు ఉంటుండే ప్రభుజీ, యూనో ఒబెసిటీ.
శ్రీపతి ప్రభుజీ అన్నారు ప్రభుజీ. శ్రీపతి ప్రభుజీ ఏమన్నారంటే కిడ్నీ ప్రాబ్లం అని అన్నారు. మరి అంటే కరెక్ట్ తెలియదు నాకు.
ఓకే ఓకే, మేబీ
శ్రీపతి ప్రభుజీ వెళ్ళారు ప్రభుజీ నిన్న ఈవినింగ్.
అదే యా
ఇవాళ అంతా క్లియర్ అంట ప్రభుజీ, ఇవాళ మధ్యాహ్నం.
ఓకే, యా ఇఫ్ ఐ am there, I definitely go there. My mind is with him. I'll pray here at the lotus feet of Radha Govinda. Very good moments, Prabhu. Actually, how this material will see. I mean, it's okay. I mean, we all have to face this situation, right? So we have to intensely, strongly, Prabhupada writing in his purpose, strongly we have to strongly practice, sincerely, seriously.
ఒకరోజు శ్రీపతి ప్రభుజీ వాళ్ళ వైఫ్ షేర్ చేసింది ప్రభుజీ. వీళ్ళ ఫాదర్, అదే మన ప్రభు సనాతన ప్రభుజీ వాళ్ళు ఉంటారు కదా, సనాతన ప్రభుజీ ఒకరోజు పిన్ను రాధారానికి అంటే డ్రెస్సింగ్ చేసేటప్పుడు పిన్ను ఏదో అసలు హెడ్ కి తాకిందంట ప్రభుజీ. ఆయన అట్లనే పెట్టి చూసుకోకుండా వెళ్ళిపోయాడంట ఇంటికి. నైట్ మొత్తం ఆయనకి ఫుల్ హెడ్ ఏక్ అంట ప్రభుజీ, మొత్తం ఇట్లా డిఫరెంట్ ఉండేనంట మొత్తం. సో అయితే నిద్ర పట్టలేదంట నైట్. మళ్ళీ మిడ్ నైట్ వచ్చి చూస్తే రాధారానికి ఆ పిన్ను కుచ్చుకుంటుంది, అంటే పిన్ను అది తలకు తాకుతుందంట ప్రభుజీ. వచ్చి సెట్ చేసిన తర్వాత మళ్ళీ సెట్ అయిపోయిందండి.
Something. That is a personal relation. 35 years of seva, Prabhu. Krishna definitely reveals to a devotee, a sincere devotee. Definitely. Guarantee. నేను చెప్తున్నా కదా, guarantee. The deity will speak with a sincere devotee. That's a fact. Any proofs కూడా చాలా.
ఇవన్నీ చూసినా గానీ ఇప్పుడు ఆ డివోటీకి ఇన్ ఫ్రంట్ ఆఫ్ హిస్ ఓన్ ఐస్ he should see his son passing away. That is the main thing, Prabhuji. And he has done 30 years of service.
అదే కదా. అప్పుడు మేము ఇద్దరం అదే మాట్లాడుతున్నాం.
It's not easy. This world is not for us, Prabhuji. Actually, for any sane people, this world is not to stay, place to stay.
Yeah. Okay. Please pray again for the devotee. Thank you so much. We all continue. Let us continue our readings. I may drop off after some time, Prabhu. Raju Prabhu, please continue. Lavanya also is there for sloka recitation. She can take over for some time until 9:15, 9:20. Okay. Thank you so much for devotees joining. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Deepa Mataji, you can start, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Dandam.
Translation and puppet by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Second Prabhuji. Translation. In the dreaming state, one's consciousness is almost covered, and one sees many inauspicious things. But when he is awakened and fully conscious, such inauspicious things cannot bewilder him. Purport. In the condition of dreaming, when one's consciousness is almost covered, one may see many unfavorable things which cause disturbance or anxiety. But upon awakening, although he remembers what happened in the dream, he is not disturbed. Similarly, the position of self-realization or understanding of one's real relationship with the Supreme Lord makes one completely satisfied, and the three modes of material nature, which are the cause of all disturbances, cannot affect him. In contaminated consciousness, one sees everything to be for his own enjoyment, but in pure consciousness or Krishna consciousness, he sees that everything exists for the enjoyment of the Supreme Enjoyer. That is the difference between the dream state and wakefulness. The state of contaminated consciousness is compared to dream consciousness, and Krishna consciousness is compared to the awakened stage of life. Actually, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, the only absolute enjoyer is Krishna. One who can understand that Krishna is the proprietor of all the three worlds and that he is the friend of everyone is peaceful and independent. As long as conditioned soul does not have this knowledge, he wants to be enjoyer of everything. He wants to become a humanitarian or a philanthropist and open hospitals and schools for his fellow human beings. This is all illusion, for one cannot benefit anyone by such material activities. If one wishes to benefit his fellow brothers, he must awaken his dormant Krishna consciousness. The Krishna conscious position is that of Pratibuddha, which means pure consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. What is the shloka, Mataji, for the Bhagavad Gita? So Krishna is love. Krishna only is the absolute enjoyer. Is Krishna. He is the proprietor of everything.
Enjoyer అంటే సంథింగ్ రిలేటెడ్ టు పురుష ఉంటుంది నాకైతే. ఇట్లాంటి క్వశ్చన్స్ అడిగితే నాకేం తెలియదు ప్రభుజీ. నిన్న చదివిందే ఇవాళ గుర్తుండ.
Lavani Mataji, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasa. ఇదే కదా Mataji?
He is Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara. Yeah.
5.26 Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasa.
Yeah. Sarvaloka Maheshwara.
5.29. 5.29.
It's a peace formula, but it's like Bharta because he is situated in our heart, right? So he is the supreme enjoyer, supreme controller. Bhakta Bhokta Maheshwara. Yeah. He is the supreme absolute enjoyer. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Sandhya Mataji, are you available to read, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanasana. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, please read, Mataji.
Translation and Padma is Divine Face A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. The influence of material nature cannot harm an enlightened soul, even though he engages in material activities, because he knows the truth of the Absolute and his mind is fixed on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. Lord Kapila says that my Manasam, a devotee whose mind is always fixed upon the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is called Atma Rama or Vidita Tattva. Atma Rama means one who rejoices in the self, or one who enjoys in the spiritual atmosphere. Atma, in the material sense, means the body or the mind. But when referring to one whose mind is fixed on the lotus feet of Supreme Lord, Atma Rama means one who is fixed in spiritual activities in relationship with the Supreme Soul. The Supreme Soul is the personality of Godhead, and the individual soul is the living entity. When they engaged in reciprocation of service and benediction, the living entity is said to be in the Atma Rama position. This Atma Rama position can be attained by one who knows the truth as it is. The truth is that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the enjoyer and that the living entities are meant for his service and enjoyment. One who knows this truth and who tries to engage all resources in the service of the Lord escapes all material reactions and influences of the modes of material nature. An example may be cited in this connection, just as a materialist engages in constructing a big skyscraper, a devotee engages in constructing a big temple for Vishnu. Superficially, the skyscraper constructor and temple constructor are on the same level, for both are collecting wood, stone, iron, and other building materials. But the person who constructs a skyscraper is a materialist, and the person who constructs a temple of Vishnu is Atma Rama. The materialist tries to satisfy himself in relation to his body by constructing a skyscraper, but the devotee tries to satisfy the super self, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by constructing the temple. Although both are engaged in the association of material activities, the devotee is liberated and the materialist is conditioned. This is because the devotee who is constructing the temple has fixed his mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the non-devotee who is constructing the skyscraper has his mind fixed in sense gratification. If while performing any activity, even in material existence, one's mind is fixed upon the lotus feet of the Personality of Godhead, one will not entangle or condition. The worker in devotional service in full consciousness is always independent of the influence of material nature. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
If you don't mind, కొంచెం స్క్రీన్ పెద్దగా చేస్తారా ప్రభుజీ?
Okay, Mataji.
Is it possible?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes. చిన్న కనిపిస్తుంది.
Okay, na Mataji.
Yes, perfect, Prabhuji.
Yeah, chavtara Mataji.
Yeah, you can ask others, Prabhuji. I'll do it then. Okay?
No problem, Mataji. Chadavandi. one by one.
Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. When a person thus engages in devotional service and self-realization for many, many years and birth, he becomes completely reluctant to enjoy any one of the material planets, even up to the highest planet, which is known as Brahmaloka. He becomes fully developed in Krishna consciousness. He fully developed in consciousness. Purport. Anyone engaged in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as a devotee, but there is a distinction between pure devotees and mixed devotees. A mixed devotee engages in devotional service for the spiritual benefit of being eternally engaged in the transcendental abode of the Lord in full bliss and knowledge. In material existence, when a devotee is not completely purified, he expects material benefit from the Lord in the form of relief from material miseries, or he wants material gain, advancement in knowledge of the relationship between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entity, or knowledge as to the real nature of the Supreme Lord. When a person is transcendental to these conditions, he is called a pure devotee. When a person is transcendental to these conditions, he is called a pure devotee. He does not engage himself in the service of the Lord for any material benefit or for understanding of the Supreme Lord. His one interest is that he loves the Supreme Personality of Godhead and he spontaneously engages in satisfying him. The highest example of pure devotional service is that of the gopis in Vrindavana. They are not interested in understanding Krishna, but only in loving him. The platform of love is the pure state of devotional service. Unless one is advanced to this pure state of devotional service, there is a tendency to desire to elevation to a higher material position. A mixed devotee may desire to enjoy comfortable life A mixed devotee may desire to enjoy a comfortable life on another planet with a greater span of life, such as in Brahmaloka. These are material desires, but because a mixed devotee engages in the service of the Lord, ultimately after many, many lives of material enjoyment, he undoubtedly develops Krishna consciousness. And the symptom of this Krishna consciousness is that he is no longer interested in any sort of materially elevated life. He does not even aspire to become personality like Lord Brahma. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Question please. Question will
Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Mataji, you can mute it, Mataji.
You want to leave?
No.
Mute pet
Mute పెట్టండి. Sound వస్తుంది. Nice.
Akinjan Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Akinjan Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Prabhuji, you can read Prabhuji now. Okay? Yes,
Mataji.
Prabhuji. Thank you.
Translation and purpose. My devotees actually become self-realized by unlimited costless mercy, and thus, when freed from all the doubts, he steadily progresses towards his destined abode, which is directly under the protection of my spiritual energy of unadulterated bliss. That is the ultimate perfectional goal of the living entity. After giving up the present material body, the mystic devotee goes to the transcendental abode and never comes back. Purport. Actual self-realization means becoming a pure devotee of the Lord. The existence of the devotee implies the function of devotion and the object of devotion. Self-realization ultimately means to understand the personality of Godhead and the living entities, to know the individual self and the reciprocal exchanges of loving services between Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entity is real self-realization. These cannot be attained by the impersonalists or other transcendentalists. They cannot understand the science of devotional service. Devotional service is revealed to the pure devotees by the unlimited costless mercy. causeless mercy of the Lord. This is especially spoken of here by the Lord, Mat Prasadena. By my special grace, this is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Only those who engage in devotional service with love and faith receive the necessary intelligence from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so that gradually and progressively they can advance to the abode of Personality of Godhead. Yeah. Neshreyasa means the ultimate destination. Yeah, can you move down, Mataji?
Swasamsthana.
Yeah. So no, I was not able to see. Yeah, Swasamsthana indicates that the impersonalists have no particular place to stay. The impersonalists sacrifice their individuality so that the living spark can merge into impersonal effulgence emanating from the transcendental body of the Lord. But the devotees have the specific abode. The planets rest in the sunshine, but the sunshine itself has no particular resting place. When one reaches a particular planet, he has a resting place. The spiritual sky, which is also known as sky, is simply this full light of all such. It is under the control of
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, we are not able to hear you. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji.
Not able to hear.
Yes, Prabhuji, we are having disturbance
Yeah.
from your side.
Hare Krishna, Akinchan Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me, Prabhu?
Now it's okay,
Akinchan.
Prabhuji. Yeah, you can complete.
Akinchan Prabhuji లేదు మాతాజీ వస్తలేదు కదా.
ఇప్పుడు వినపడింది ప్రభుజీది.
నేనే మాతాజీ.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, వినపడతలేదా?
Hare Krishna, Akinchan Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji, I can hear Akinchan Prabhuji, Raju Prabhuji, I can hear.
అవునా మాతాజీ.
What about others, Matajis and Prabhujis? Are you able to hear, Prabhuji?
వినిపించట్లేదు మాతాజీ.
Akinchan Priya Prabhuji, వినపడట్లే? What about others? Akinchan Prabhuji?
వినపడలేదు మాతాజీ మాకు కూడా.
We'll ask him to read next, Mataji. Shirisha will continue. Yeah.
It is under the protection of Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 14.427, Brahmano hi Pratishtanam, the impersonal Brahman effulgence rests on the body of Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, the bodily effulgence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Kaivalya, or impersonal Brahman. In the impersonal effulgence, there is a spiritual planets which are known as Vaikunthas, chief of which is Krishna Loka. Some devotees are elevated to the Vaikuntha planets and some are elevated to the planet of Krishna Loka. According to the desire of particular devotee, he is offered a particular abode which is known as Swasamsthana, his desired destination. By the grace of the Lord, the self-realized devotee engaged in devotional service understands his destination even while in the material body. He therefore performs his devotional activities steadily without doubting, and after quitting his material body, he at once reaches the destination for which he is prepared for himself. After reaching that abode, he never comes back to this material world. Very good.
Complete here, Prabhuji. Last para only.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji. The words Lingat Vinirgame mean which are used here mean after being freed from the two kinds of material bodies, subtle and gross. The subtle body is made of mind, intelligence, false ego, and contaminated consciousness, and the gross body is made of five elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. When one is transferred to the spiritual world, he gives up both the subtle and gross bodies of the material world. He enters the spiritual sky in his pure spiritual body and is stationed in one of the spiritual planets. Although the impersonalists also reach that spiritual sky after giving up the subtle and gross bodies, they are not placed in the spiritual planets as they desire. They are allowed to merge in spiritual effulgence emanating from the transcendental body of the Lord. The word Swa-samsthanam is also very significant. As the living entity prepares himself, so he attains his abode. Impersonal Brahman effulgence is offered to the impersonalists, but those who want to associate with Supreme Personality of Godhead in his transcendental form as Narayana in the Vaikunthas or with Krishna in the Krishna Loka go to those abodes wherefrom they never return. Hare Krishna.
థ్యాంక్ యూ ప్రభుజీ. అమ్మ చదువుతావా?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhu Senmata Dandavarpanam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. When a perfect yogi's attention is no longer attracted to the byproducts of mystic powers, which are manifestations of the external energy, his progress towards me becomes unlimited, and thus the power of death cannot overcome him. Purport. Yogis are generally attracted to the byproducts of mystic yogic power, for they can become smaller than the smallest or greater than the greatest, achieve anything they desire, have power even to create a planet, or bring anyone they like under their subjection. Yogis who have incomplete information of the result of devotional service are attracted by these powers, but these powers are material. They have nothing to do with spiritual progress. As other material powers are created by the material energy, mystic yogic powers are also material. A perfect yogi's mind is not attracted by any material power, but is simply attracted by unalloyed service to the Supreme Lord. For a devotee, the process of merging into the Brahman effulgence is considered to be hellish, and yogic power are the preliminary perfection of yogic power. To be able to control the senses is automatically achieved. As for elevation to higher planets, a devotee considers this to be simply hallucinatory. A devotee's attention is concentrated only upon the eternal loving service of the Lord, and therefore the power of death has no influence over him. In such a devotional state, a perfect yogi can attain the status of immortal knowledge and bliss. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 27th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, enlightened understanding material nature. Hari Bol.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Lavani Mataji.
So we will do shlokas, Prabhuji. Otherwise, it's like 8:56. It's almost 9. So, మీరు అంటే ఏం శ్లోకాస్ ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తున్నారు? అదేనా నిన్న ఇవాళ ప్రభుజీ చదివిందేనా?
అవునమ్మా, అవును మాతాజీ.
అవే రెండా?
ఎస్ మాతాజీ.
మళ్ళీ ఇవాళ కూడా అవి చేయాలా?
ఎస్ మాతాజీ, ప్రభుజీ మెన్షన్ సేమ్.
Okay, so we will do that.
Yeah, tomorrow we need to do 26 chapters Srimad Bhagavatam, 27 chapters Subodhini Mataji. I will share today.
కొంచెం పెట్టండి.
షేర్ చేయండి మాతాజీ, ఆల్రెడీ ఉన్నాయన్నారు కదా ప్రభుజీ పీడిఎఫ్.
You can share if you have, Prabhuji. Okay.
I need to scan and share Mataji. Prabhuji
మళ్ళీ
mentioned that. మళ్ళీ
అంటే ప్రభుజీ ఆన్లైన్ లో
ప్రభుజీ ఉందని చెప్పారు. ఇది ఆన్లైన్ లో ఉందని చెప్పారు కదా మాతాజీ.
అయితే ఐ విల్ ఆస్క్ హిమ్. ఓకే, ఐ విల్ ఆస్క్.
ఓకే, ఆస్క్ చెప్పండి మాతాజీ, నాకు అప్డేట్ చేయండి. ఐ విల్ షేర్ అదర్వైజ్ టుమారో బికాజ్ వి నీడ్ టు రీడ్ Subodhinis Mataji 26 and 27 chapters from third canto.
అదే ఒక్కసారి మెన్షన్ చేయండి గ్రూప్ లో ఏం చదవాలో. ఓకే, సో దట్ ప్రభుజీ నోస్. ఓకే, యా.
ఓకే,
థ్యాంక్ యూ ప్రభుజీ. యా, ఐ విల్ షేర్ ద శ్లోకాస్.
స్క్రీన్ మీరు చేస్తారా మాతాజీ, షేర్ చేస్తారా?
యా, ఐ విల్ షేర్.
గ్రూప్ లో పంపించాడు మాతాజీ శ్లోకాస్
అవే కదా లాస్ట్ లో.
అవును.
ఇవేనా ప్రభుజీ? ముక్తానాం అభి సిద్ధానాం ఇంకా ముందు
ఎస్ మాతాజీ, ఎస్ మాతాజీ, ఎస్ మాతాజీ, వినండి.
ఓకే. లలిత్ మోహన్ ప్రభుజీ, హరే కృష్ణ. Is Prabhuji there?
Mataji, I will be in hearing mode, Mataji, for some time. You please go ahead. You please go ahead, please. Thank you, Mataji.
Okay. So, Mataji, Deepa Mataji, Vani Mataji, Raju Prabhuji, you can start. Then later we will do. Okay?
Yeah, Mataji, I'll start.
Okay.
6.1.14.5. Okay. मुक्तानामपि सिद्धानां नारायण परायण सुदुर्लभ प्रशान्तात्मा कोटिष्वपि महामुने. Translation: O great sage, among many millions who are liberated and perfect in knowledge of liberation, one may be a devotee of Lord Narayana or Krishna. Such devotees who are fully peaceful are extremely rare. Narayana para sarve na kutascha na bibhyati स्वर्गापवर्ग नरकेश्व apitulyartha darshina. Translation: Devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Vani Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I will read Mataji. I want to read. Muktanamapi siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha parayana Muktanamapi siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prasannatma kotisvapi mahamune narayana parasarve na kutaschana bibhyati स्वर्गपवर्ग नरकेश्व अपि तुल्यात् दर्शिनः.
नरकेश्व अपि तुल्यात् दर्शिनः. Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. Vani Mataji, Raju Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji. I'll do Mataji.
Yeah.
Muktanamapi siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prasantatma kotishvapi mahamune. Translation: O great sage, among many millions who are liberated and perfect in knowledge of liberation, one may be a devotee of Lord Narayana or Krishna. Such devotees who are fully peaceful are extremely rare. Narayana parasarve nakutaschana bibhyati swargapavarga nageshva api tulyata darshina. Devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I will.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Mataji.
King Chitraketu's Lamentation, Srimad Bhagavatam 6.14.5. Muktanamapi siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prasannatma kotishvapi.
It's prashantatma, peaceful. Yeah.
Sudurlabha prashantatma kotisvapi mahamune. Mother Parvati curses Chitraketu. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.17.28. Narayana para sarve nakutaschana bibhyati swargapavarga narakesho apitulyartha darshina. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, Prabhuji and Mataji, you can continue.
Raju,
yeah, I will do.
Yes, Prabhuji, chant.
Yeah, King Chitraketu's Lamentation, Srimad Bhagavatam 16.14.5. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prasantatma kotishva api mahamuni. Translation: O great sage, among many millions who are liberated and perfect in knowledge of liberation, One may be a devotee of Lord Narayana or Krishna. Such devotees who are fully peaceful are extremely rare. Mother Parvati curses Chitraketu. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.17.28. Narayana para sarve na kutashana bibyati sarva swargapavarga narakeshwa apitulyata darshinaha.
Tulyartha, equal, right? Tulyartha, equal, tulyam, right?
Apitulyata darshinaha. Translation: devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. Thank you, Mother.
Same related to Bahunam Janmanabhamte, Jnanavam Prapatyate, Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Samahatma Sudurlabha. That devotee, the Vasudeva Parayana devotee, who concludes that Vasudeva is the Supreme Lord. That is the final conclusion of that devotee. It is very rare. That's what he is saying. The glories of devotee. Okay. Yeah. Inka evarunaru? Hare Krishna. Sanja Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah. Murlidhar Prabhuji, Sanja Mataji. Kinchan
I'll
Prabhuji.
do Mataji.
Yeah.
సంధ్య మాతాజీ అనగా చేస్తాను మాతాజీ.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you. Mata chant.
King Chitraketu's Lamentation, Srimad Bhagavatam 6.14.5. Muktanamapi siddhanam narayana parayanaha sudurlabha prashantatma kotishvapi mahamune. Mother Parvati curses Chitraketu, Srimad Bhagavatam 6.17.28. Narayana para sarve nakutaschana bhibyati swargapavarga narakeshva apitulyartha darshinaha.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Mataji.
Murlidhar Prabhuji.
హరే కృష్ణ
Yeah.
మాతాజీ.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
శ్రీమద్ భాగవతం 6.14.5. ముక్తానామపి సిద్ధానాం నారాయణః పరాయణ సుదుర్లభః ప్రశాంతాత్మా కోటిష్వపి మహామునే. 6.17.28. నారాయణః పరా సర్వే నకుతశ్చన బిభ్యతి స్వర్గాపవర్గ నరకేష్వ అపి తుల్యార్థదర్శినః.
Thank you,
మాతాజీ.
Prabhuji. Mataji,
Hare
sir.
Krishna Mataji.
Yeah,
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Chant.
Muktanamapi siddhanam narayana parayanaha sudurlabha prashantatma kotishvapi mahamune. Narayana paraha sarvena kuta Narayana
para sarve
nakutachana bibhyati swargapavarga narakeshva apitulyartha darshinaha. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Very nice, Mataji. Yeah. Anybody left? Akinchan Prabhuji.
Muktanamapi siddhanam narayana paranaha sudurlabha prasanna Sudurlabha Kotishvapi Mahamune Narayana para sarve Nakutaschana bibyati Svarga pavarga narkesho apitulyartha darshina.
Swargapavarga narakeshwa. Tulya api tulyartha darshina. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji. Anybody left to recite Hare Krishna? Okay. I'll do. King Chitraketu's Lamentation is from Srimad Bhagavatam 6.14.5. Muktanamapi siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prashantatma kotishvapi mahamune. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.17.28. Narayana para sarve nakutaschana bibhyati sargapavarga narakeshva apitulyata darshina. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you for joining today's reading and recitation. Panchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindubhya vachapatitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Transcendental Book Reading ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Chitraketu Maharaj Prayers ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji and
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji.